The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everybody, welcome to the weekly Noyantis Usergroup meeting. Today is the 9th of March 2020. Myself and John are your hosts. As always, if you've got any queries or questions, ideas, solutions, feel free to raise your hand and we'll get the microphones opened accordingly. Now, while we're waiting for questions, and what I normally do is start with some updates, and we've got some, I think some nice, exciting updates coming your way. One of which I'm going to show you the type of approach that is currently being applied to the command bars. Okay, so I'm just going to run. I don't know if anyone saw, I put basically a bit of an excited statement out last night on the Noyantis chat about some optimizations which are going on in the command bars. Now, visually, you think that's rubbish; it doesn't work. You have to see past that. It's kind of irrelevant. So here we go. So I've got Ultimate Debug Viewer available from Clarion Live, of course. Very good. So keep that there, or we can do the stay on top. That would probably come in handy. And I will run our application. And I'm going to purposely go into the different controls, which will give you a ribbon bar interface with basically a set of controls which I've just butchered and got it to repaint the same controls 5 times over, five or 6 times over. So let me just show you. Press that. And now it's painted in the background. Okay, so if we take a quick look here, and we can see, there we go. There, create controls, and the before and after, there's this is the parent call to the create controls embed point. And I'll go into more detail of what's changing underneath the surface in a second. But here we can see there was 0.3 of a second when it got to that, no time to call that, and then 3.3 seconds. That's correct, isn't it, John? 3.3 seconds between the parent call and the after creation, basically the end. And that is where it's, just let me move that out of the way. That's where it's basically painted your content. Now, as I say, this is just, I've just told it to go and repeat the same content 5 times over. I did an export using the template and an input, I changed the IDs and just re-imported them. So this, from a size, from a content point of view, probably a little larger than people would actually need. But I wanted to get some decent amount of controls on there. So we'll have a look in a minute. I think there's probably 100 and odd controls. So what we've done there is we've asked the control to create all of those. And if we look at that generated code for that, create controls, is what actually happens. So we've got our debug, we've got our parent call, which is nothing at all. So we get that, and then we actually go off and create the controls using all the provided methods, as you would expect. And this, remember, this code is now, what are we? 2020, it's approaching 12-year-old, this code, and it served us well, but it is definitely worth, it's definitely worth a revamp. So let me pull that down, see if we can find where the end of that is. And there's our end debug. So that's 3.3 seconds to create that, and all of the work is done after the parent call. Now I'm going to show you same application, but I'm going to open it using the in progress template. And the first thing we'll do is we will have a look at the approach. So same embed points, obviously. Get in there, won't be a second. While we're waiting for this, what would previously happen is you would call the add control that internally would create a control in the internal queues of the command bar class, would create a queue entry for it, create the control, store the object ID and all the relevant information, and then you would go and manipulate it by calling the related methods and so on and so forth. Now let's look at the new generated code and the new approach we're taking with it. So we've got our embed point for our debug, but then straight away, now this is in progress, so you're going to get lots of comments and so on and so forth, and we'll go into some of the other properties in a minute. But straight away, what it does is we've introduced a new queue. We've introduced several new queues actually, and I will tell you a little more of those in a second. But this time, we've got our content control queue, and we add basically the queue entry here, and there will be extra properties, extra elements to that queue. So I'll show you another flushed out example in a second to do with the bars. But basically the principle is, before the parent call, we will populate the queue ourselves. It won't have the created control because it's not occurred, but we will actually prime up a queue of controls. So there's our queue of controls. There's our parent call, and this stuff afterwards actually, even though it's doing things, it won't do actually anything after the parent call, and all of the logic is going to be moved into here. Using this approach, it's going to keep it backwards compatible, because you would have had no code here, or realistically no code there. Parent call didn't do much, and then you would have had your add control and all the elements here. And if you did embed any code, chances are you either did it here or you did it at that embed point, meaning that your embedded code should still work. Now, we know from the test we've just done, our call was 3.3, just under 3, just under 3. Just over 3.3 seconds. It's easy for me to say, wasn't it? Same again this time. Now, the controls are going to be created. Their attributes won't be set because I'm just doing the laborious code of doing them attributes. So kind of irrelevant. It's the creation of the control and getting the queues populated. That's where we've had the speed decrease, if you will. So same again, let's clear that. Call our different controls, and they're created. This time, our 3.3 seconds has now gone to, where are we? There's a before parent call. That's getting into it. It's gone to around 0.06 seconds. And now the attributes, don't worry, the fact that it hasn't got any captions, that's totally irrelevant. All the controls are there, and that's the key thing. These are your entries. We should have our sliders somewhere. Oh, wrong group. That's okay, that's fine. So, but point being is all the controls, just as we saw before, are all there, but done in a fraction of the time, but still keeping it backwards compatible. Now, as I say, yes, there's no caption, you think it's not working. If that's really kind of irrelevant, any time which would have been taken would have been populating the queue, which we've done, and physically creating the controls, which have now been done. With me so far? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So, got me worried there a little. So, by doing that, what the intention is, and what the intention is. Let me just go to one of the other examples. So that's create controls, but of course we've got create bars as well, and it's the same for. Not that one, sorry, that one. Sorry, I was trying to find the correct one. Only working on it last night. Create command bars, that's why. Sorry, wrong one. So the exact same approach here. You can see here that this has got much more of the typical properties that you would set. So we've got a new content queue, it's a content bar queue. You've got a content ribbon, content bar group, content tab group, tab queue, group queue, control queue. I think there's a couple of others as well. And basically, the approach we're switching to, while still keeping it backwards compatible, of course, is you can prime up your queue, and the template will do it, but of course you can do it through code as well, just in case you've got any things which do with security and so on and so forth, and you want to custom build your own content. So you would prime up the queue entity. So this could be your bar, your command bar. It could be your control queue, your ribbon groups, anything you like. You prime up the group. You set all the different typical attributes. So is it selected? Is it visible? Where are we? The gripper visible, the height, the high strategy for the bar, closable, what collection it belongs to. All the things that you would have done previously called methods for, and the template would have called methods for. And basically, it primes up the group, the queue, goes to create the command bars, which then goes and actually physically creates the command bars. So all of them at that stage are created. By the time you get into this code, then they are all ready for you to be able to manipulate if you should so wish, and so on. So that will give you the content. And the beauty of it is, what you can do is just change one particular attribute in your structure. There is some extra fields within that group structure which start underscore. One is the actual bar object itself, so it's the object ID, so it stores that, and that's like an internal variable, if you will. One is, let me bring them into focus so you can actually see what I'm talking about. Let's stick with that bar, the bar queue, which you've seen here. One is the internal ID number, one is the internal object, and one is a new flag to say that a synchronization has been completed, which obviously when you add it, it isn't. And then when you call the method create command bars, it goes through and creates all the ones which don't currently exist via the detecting the object, and it will set it as synchronization complete. Then going forward, if you wanted to manipulate the property, let's say you wanted to manipulate 2 or 3 properties, maybe the visibility of it, the position of it, the caption of the bar, things like that, the collection it belongs to. Rather than a series of method calls, which you would do previously, you would just get your queue entry, change the relevant variables, and you could call the synchronize, or the class will actually recognize that you've changed the queue and it will action those automatically. So you just maintain a queue and the command bar will spot when it's changed and paint all the attributes in one go. So you've got a new method. There we go, sync bar properties. And instead of just doing singular commands at a time, what it actually will do is set a whole host of properties all in one go, all using the raw object, meaning there's no gets, there's no getting of the queue, there's no checking various attributes, so on and so forth. It's all raw commands, really giving you the raw speed to be able to manipulate the command bar. Hence why we've just dropped, in the example you've just seen there, 3.3, 3.4 seconds down to 0.6 of a second. And that's the kind of speed increases we kind of want to get to. Setting of these attributes takes no time at all. And there's actually an optimization to go in on these yet as well, where we're going to actually turn off callback events, synchronize these, and then turn them back on again. So if anything, we're going to try and get a bit more speed out of it. So the reason why we've not got the controls, the captions you saw a second ago, and so on and so forth, the reason why you've not got those is I'm just doing this code for the actual sync control entities. This is the sync bar. As you can imagine, each one will have their own synchronize. So very exciting. Hopefully you agree and you like what you see. And the speed increases are just phenomenal. Literally phenomenal. So yeah, should be very good. Any questions? Or did that make sense?
Yes, but how soon until we can have it? That's always the question, right?
How soon so you can have it? You will, I know my schedule, and you know how fast CIDC is approaching. You will
I
have
do.
this week, because if it's not out this week, it's not going to make it into the cut, and it's just got to do. So you will have that. You will have this week. So
Excellent.
yeah, definitely. I worked over the weekend. I came into the office on Saturday and I was working flat out on it. And I even sat on the sofa yesterday and I was working on it then too. I was watching Top Gear at the same time, to be honest, but I was also working on it then. So yeah, it's getting a phenomenal amount of work. So yeah, so you will get it. There's one funny I know of on, I think it was on the tabbed bar actually. Yeah, why are my create controls not working there? I've obviously upset something. Yeah, that's fine because I was only just doing the stuff last night, so I don't overly panic on that. So it looks rough and ready at the moment, but my point being is you can see these timings, and I'm really happy with that at the speed of that. In fact, there's another test I've just done, and there you go, the parent call, 0.96. So really chuffed at that compared to 3.3 before or 3.4. So
Yeah.
yeah. So that's the command bar update, and you will get it, as I say, this week. And we're not talking Friday; we're talking before then. So definitely watch. I'll be shouting from the rooftops when it's available, as you can imagine. So that's one update. There's another update which I've been giving some thought to the calendar. There's a calendar update. We did some work a couple of weeks ago on it, and we added some examples to it, and so on and so forth, to the example app. And again, there's for the CIDC 2020 Africa event, we're actually doing calendar training. So what I'll be doing is getting an update out to the calendar before then. Now that might realistically, it depend on how the command bars progress this week. That might make it this week. In reality, it's probably no. Yeah, I'm going to try for this week, but don't be surprised if it's next week before you see it. But I'm going to try my hardest to get it this week. So for the command bars, I had a thought, and this is what you can expect in the new one. So let's just open up one of the example apps. Let's move that out of here. And we must have had a command bars at some point. Don't know, command bars calendar pro, sorry. So I think we've missed a glaring, obvious facility which the calendar should have really had by now. We've got reminders, as you can see here, and so where are we? Yep, reminders, and you can use the code jot reminder. So that's the code jot reminder window, perfectly fine. We can use the Noyantis reminder window, which again, perfectly fine, and you can customize all of this, all the wording and so on for internationalization, and you can build your own custom reminder window, which is great. But one of the things, let's just see if I've got the example app here. Won't be a second. Just let Avast do its job. Won't be a second. Okay. So one of the things Avast, not Avast, the suite controls includes is basically the little pop-ups, if you will. So something along the lines of like so, little pop-up in the window, in the corner. Or you can have it like so, and you can click and detect when that's been clicked and so on. So what I was thinking is, wouldn't it make sense as that, or you can even have it on an image and so on and put your own wording on there. So this is what I mean by the pop-ups, the system tray pop-ups, if you will. Well, a glaring obvious example would be for your reminders to actually pop up in the system tray rather than popping up a window as we see in here. Or maybe both. Let me just bring that back up. So instead of a reminder window, as the reminders occur, also pop up a system tray. So we need the two to work well together. So we're talking about the calendar talking to the suite controls. So one of the very first things I want to do is, in a lot of our templates, and you're already using these, you've got the option on the third party tab to say where you've got compatibility. And you can say, like on the command bars, I want compatibility with the calendar. So you can have a date picker on the command bar, things like that. Well, I want as simple as on the third party of the calendar to tick, I want compatibility with the suite controls. It will ask you what your suite controls extension is, which you would normally have. And hey presto. Oh, and on the reminders, I will say whether you want the system tray to pop up. If it does, as the reminder triggers, you will get your system tray notification come up, just as you would in the likes of Outlook and so on and so forth. But the beauty of that is it will give you that with hopefully as little as 2 or 3 selections in the template, and that's it. So that's first for the calendar. The next is linking the calendar to the charting control, so you can start to get analysis from the calendar, from the loaded recurring events and so on and so forth. And we will be training on this very subject in CIDC in South Africa. So we will be actually be training on this content as well. But if you've got recurring events, where are we? Weren't that one actually, but that's as good as any. But you've got recurring events and so on. So you've got only one record in your database, but multiple records in the calendar, multiple events in the calendar. So we'll have the ability, again, via the compatibility, to say, okay, I want you to basically read the calendar and give me a chart of the analysis. So you can chart it by day per staff member, or maybe per hour per staff member, so you can see who's busy at what times. And again, I want these enhancements to be as little as 2 or 3 ticks in the class, sorry, in the template, and you will have that ability added to your application. So really giving you a lot of power, a lot of functionality to your users, but not doing any work for it. I'll be doing the work, don't worry, but you guys won't be. And the last but not least is our link to Chillcat, where we'll be putting the groundwork in place so you can add your automatic synchronizing. So these calendars, so you've got your normal calendar here, that linked to your Google Calendar. So as you're moving these around, it's real time to your Google Calendar. So they are the enhancements you can expect in the next build of the calendar. And we'll be training in South Africa, so you will be out before South Africa. Wow, need a drink, need a sip of water. Any questions on that? Date picker change. Oh yes, sorry, yes. Marty's there. I'll just open the mic. In fact, Bill, as I've just seen there. Marty, yes. One of the things which I did promise Marty a couple of weeks ago, and you will get, is in the lookup. So when we are looking up here, it should really have some quick navigation buttons to allow you to quickly jump from year to year and month to month and so on. So there will be a drop down of years along with quick navigation buttons going in this area here. So I take it that's what you were referring to, Marty?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely no problem. Yeah, they're not on there, but we're talking. The plan is double arrow and a single arrow, a year entry, double arrow and a single arrow and a double arrow to the right. So basically 5 controls in this area, allowing you to jump a year at a time and a month at a time, select a year from the drop down, and obviously the reverse of that, jump forward a month and jump forward a year. So quickly moving this like so, if you will, but years at a time, so you can quickly, for date of birth, if you will, make it easier for date of birth entry.
Right.
So,
The other place that would seem to be a location for that might be where the date picker is on the side of the calendar, and you have the same month arrows that are at the top.
yeah, we're going to struggle on that, only because this is our window, and we're in control of that window, which is nice. But where it's here, where it's linked, that is its own control, and we have, except for some wording changes, that's all we really can do. We can't add to that. So, but I do know what you mean. It would be nice, but you can like jump like so. It's not as good. If I wanted to go back to 1972, then yeah, I would be in for quite a bit of navigation, that kind of thing. So
Was that a right click you were doing to pull that up?
no, just holding down the month name, and it automatically gives you a selection like so.
Oh, okay. All right. And the number of months that appear in that list, that's also not something we.
Oh, do you know, it's not one of the things I've looked at.
So that can pop
Pass.
to 12 or 13, then that would give you the ability to then easily jump to the prior or next year.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I will check. When I'm doing the other screen. The other enhancement. Then I will check. I thought we'd have got some on this by now, but yeah, the command bars. While I put some of these other changes in place, there was a delay on that, but happy with the progress being made on that, and so on. I think I'll learn from it. I'll be honest. Once the command bars is out, and this the whole calendar is out, and then after CIDC, to be fair, I'm going to then revisit each one of our classes and revisit basically each of the templates to see if we can actually get any further optimization out of the lot. So I'm talking report control, the calendar itself, everything, so we can get the maximum speed out of it as possible. So yeah. Okay, and we've got so that's Bill. Just let me grab Bill 1 second. Bill saying Bill. Where we go, Bill.
Hello.
Hi, Bill.
Hey, yeah, I've been kind of missing since basically about CIDC in the States here, but because I've been working on some other projects. But the last time I worked with trying to use the report control with legacy and utilizing the file choices, there was some problems with it at that time.
There was, yeah. Now there's definitely been enhancements on that and fixes, because there was in the file loaded originally. There's been some enhancements and some fixes, some of which are released. Just let me have a look. Where's my command button?
And I'm fixing to get back onto it here either this week or next week. And
I would say that's fine. Take a look at the latest version. Do you know what version you're currently on?
Honestly, I don't. Without pulling everything up, I'm going to move some computers around, and I've just got a handful of things going on. But I just wanted to check with you on that before
there's definitely been some fixes.
I don't remember exactly what it was that it was doing. It's like if I remember right, it was only displaying a portion of the file or something like that.
Range limit options added. We'd have to have a look at what version you're on, but there was some issues, some funnies, if you will, to do with the new file loading, but they were addressed. I'm just trying to see, because 416 isn't released. Hang on, that's just the creative for legacy. I don't see an issue why you would have any issue. The code that's generated is both ABC and client and legacy compatible for the file loading. So you should be fine, Bill, but if not,
I'm in the middle of a conference and they're answering a question for me. Tell them I'll call them right back. I'm sorry, Andy, I got interrupted.
No problem. What I was saying is, have a look at what version you're on. You might be on 4.14, you might be on 4.13. 4.16 isn't released, but it will be, because it's being used daily here. So there's absolutely no reason why that shouldn't go out. I was going to try and get some optimizations done of that before South Africa. I very much doubt I'll get those done, but that's still not enough reason to hold this up. So basically, yes, imagine, expect within the next 2 weeks, quite a few updates to come out. Docking panes, command bars, docking panes we spoke about in the testing. Actually, Alan was on here. I think he still is. Let me have a quick look up the list. Alan, you are there. I'll actually ask Alan in a second about his give it an honest appraisal. I think he's been testing it and he sent a positive comment, so I think safer can open the mic. But yes, so in the next couple of weeks, command bars, docking pane, calendar, and report control will all get released, basically on the lead up. And then once we're at CIDC, we'll be training on those very latest versions. So they'll all be commercially available. You can download, ready to go through the content and there will be a Chilcat release prior to that as well. So because of some updates to the Chilcat library. So, but take a look at yours, Bill. I don't see any reason why there isn't compatibility with Legacy. I tell you what, I will do actually. I'll get 4.16 released. I'll even try after this webinar today, if not by the morning. So tomorrow afternoon, UK time, tomorrow morning, your time, drop me a message. Make sure you can obtain 4.16.
Yeah, this shows I'm on 4.14,
Right.
which I might have updated it and not, went through one day and did a bunch of updates. So I'm not sure that that's really the one I was using at the time.
Right.
The last time I messed with it. So
I'm because the code was generated in that particular point through real life usage and so on. There was a couple of funnies in there. I know there wasn't a clear statement. I don't even know I put that in there, but it should have been a bug fix. Record buffer not clearing yet, it was. So I found that last week. So I know there's some fixes in this very latest release. I'll get them out. I'll get them out tomorrow because I'm not going to get time to put any other enhancements to report control.
But I should be looking for 4.16
tomorrow. By tomorrow, this time tomorrow, take a look. And if you haven't got it, ask me why. And I will be commercially available to everybody tomorrow by this time tomorrow. So we can all go into 4.16. I would say try that, Bill. It gives me then a couple of weeks, just in case you've got a scenario in yours which doesn't really work, so to speak. Then that gives me the ability prior to the South Africa training to fix it.
That'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
Thanks, Andy.
No problem. Bill actually just reminded me of one of a change to the calendar. Now, are we still on the calendar? We are. One change I want to get in, and I want to get it in prior to the training in South Africa, is okay. But I mean, even if you're not attending the training, you'll still want the latest updates. And John, it might be worth us maybe penciling in not really a training, but a recap, if you will, a Friday webinar on some of these enhancements once we're back from the CIDC 2020 for all the people who can't attend. Just to keep it fair. Does that sound okay?
I'll channel for John. Of course, that would be a great idea.
So, but yes, we've got, I don't want to particularly break this one. One thing we get asked quite a lot for the calendar, I wouldn't say quite a lot. One thing which gets raised is what's the best way to get the data in there? What's the optimal way of loading? And we've covered it on these webinars quite a few times as well. We say, okay, manually load. You can load from a queue, and if you load from a queue, it will go through and ask you for the queue identity, and then matching up all the different fields. So you can say, that's the field in my queue, which is the record ID, and that's the schedule, and so on and so forth. And here's the different fields. Now, I use the queue loading because I'll use a SQL query with a particular filter clause and so on and so forth, get the results back into a queue, and then basically have the calendar loading from that queue. So when that queue changes, when I go and refresh the SQL query, when that queue changes, the calendar automatically reflects that. Very nice, really efficient, very, very clean code. What I want to add to that, just like we've got in the report control, is table/view. And it's going to work very similar to this. It's going to prompt you for the table, just like the report control does now, and the key, and so on and so forth. So it'll ask you for the different fields within yours. That's keeping you the ability to keep your own table structures, because I'm a big believer in that. There's no right and no wrong when it comes to that design. What works for you might not work for others, and vice versa. So I will prompt you for these. I might prefix some, I'll give you a button to say fill in defaults, just in case you're using one of our record structures. So if you're using that, it will save you a lot of typing, and you can just say, complete defaults, and all these get populated for you. So I'll probably give you a button like that. That just makes it easier, so to speak. But with those filled in, and this being table/view, then what it will do then is, let me just go through here. It will, no, not that one. Yeah, it's that one. It will eliminate that code because it will perform that code for you automatically. It will eliminate that code, that code, that code, that code, and that code, and that code, and that code. So basically, it's going to eliminate all that code for you and just write it via the template, meaning that you can then just, what is this? This is just updating a screen because, for the example, it's just updating a particular screen down here. These, which are purely for example debugs. So if you didn't have anything like that, you wouldn't actually have to write any code, but you'd be able to populate the calendar from a TPS table or your SQL table, it doesn't really matter. Populate it from a table and have the calendar write all the code for you. So it's going the complete opposite to what we've done in the past, where we said we wouldn't do your data IO. Now we're going to switch it to actually we do all of it for you. So that is also the calendar update which is coming for you as well. And it shouldn't be that hard for me to put in. We've got a lot of template prompts from the queue entry, which we've just seen. So that should, like so, because creating the template prompts actually takes a bit of time. So I can just copy all these and assign them to the table/view and generate the code accordingly. So watch this space, basically. Next couple of weeks, big updates coming out. Any questions on the template? Yeah, that should help, should it? Hopefully positive feedback from everybody. Unless, of course, you don't want me to do it, and I can just carry on doing my applications.
Oh, that looks like it's another one of those obvious once you see it.
Well, in reality, in truth, I have always been against writing people's code because we all have different coding standards. And as I say, I'm a big believer in there is no right and no wrong. What one person thinks is perfect and hates everybody else's might look really ugly to the next person, and vice versa. So there is no right, no wrong. It's whatever works for you. But if you want the template to do it for you, I'm going to then allow it to do it for you. And it'll just be done to keep it ABC and legacy compatible, but it'll be done in a particular style, which is pretty easy to read and so on. But it will still include the extra hook points for you for the likes of record locking, in case you're able to use a calendar and so on. So you should have where are we? File, straight past it, data lock record. So these will still be called, but that will be up to you to put your own code into that for your record locking and your unlock record, because I don't know what mechanism you're using. I know what I use, but I don't know what you use. So we'll just call it and you can implement it accordingly.
I think it's great to give people the option. As you say, you're not forcing them into any particular paradigm. You're just giving them.
Yeah, as long as if it's an empty method call, it's going to take a few nanoseconds to execute, or milliseconds if that, But yeah, it will take. It's an extra call, but it gives you the ability, flexibility going forward. Okay, and then we did promise mention Alan. So Alan, I don't know if you're there. I'm going to put you on the spot if you are, but bear in mind it might not be. Alan, are you there?
I'm here. Do you hear me?
Yes, very good. So
All
let's put
right.
you on the spot. But seeing as you've got the docking panes, yeah, how are you finding it?
Yeah, it's showing a lot of promise. One of the other programmers is actually working on the program right now, and
Okay.
I get it and I play with it a bit, and it's a it's a app. We've probably got 15 to 20 different panes, all calling clarion procedures, and the delayed opening, what do you call
Yep.
it, lazy open,
Yep.
seems to really help. I mean, I'm able to line up 8 to 10 panes with separate procedures, and
Yep.
it looks good. Now the app is still a little finicky. I mean, I started up and 3 out of 4 times it closes immediately. But I'm not sure if that's the panes, if it's command bars, if it's stuff we're doing. So it's one of those.
It's
I'm
worth us
looking
having a
forward to
debug session on that then, because obviously over the past few weeks and so on and that, you've seen an application we're working on called Schedule It, and so on. And the only one funny I know of that at the moment, and it's not, I think it's actually calendar related, if truth be told, and I think it's related to the calendar and the unloading. So we don't get no GPS and no our stability has gone to. Can you ever say 100%? Let's say it's gone really good. Let's just say it's gone really good. And I'm more than happy. But the unloading of the color theme of the calendar can cause an issue when you're exiting the application, but that's the only time, and it's not all the time. So I mean, I'll close that now, and let's see. Yeah, no, but I have seen it do it. So that's the only one which is still on the list. It's on a shakedown list, which will be addressed, but that's the only one I know. So if you've got some others, then it must be a scenario which we're not catering for, and I'd like to address it.
Well, if you want to take a look at it, that's great. Just tell me when you would. It's one of those things where it's not urgent for me, so I thought, well, I'll wait till there's other updates. But I'm perfectly happy to let you play around with the code and see if you spot something that you need to address.
Well,
very well could be us.
I want to get all the updates out within, like I say, the next 2 weeks. So prior to me doing the command back, the docking pane, there's still a couple of other updates in that, which as soon as they're ready, I will pass you another beta. But prior to release, if I could take a quick look at that on your system, then yeah, it would be very beneficial.
Just let me know when you want. We'll work with you.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much. That's great.
Okay.
Okay. So there's no other questions come in. Now I know Frank. I don't know if Frank's around. Oh, hi Andy. You had a chance to look at the HTML editor problem. HTML editor. Oh, Frank. Oh, no, I know. Let's open the microphone to Frank. No, but hi Frank.
Andy.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yes. No, I haven't. But do you mind if we
Okay.
look at it now together?
Yeah. I mean, the problem is, I just can't understand it. You've helped me a bit with the HTML editor. I worked on a program from somebody and finally got it working the way I wanted to, with replacing and all that kind of stuff, and with the images, and so and I go to put it out there, and it wouldn't, it just locks. So I said, all right, well, maybe it's a Windows 10 64-bit problem, because I unfortunately still on Windows 7. So I tried it on my laptop. It didn't work there. I tried it on several, actually about 5 or 6 different clients, applications. And what I did, I just took the demo instead of trying to put all my data out and testing it that way. I just did the demo, and the demo locks. I did it on 2 Windows 7 machines, multiple Windows 10 machines, every single client that I go on. So I must be missing something, because it's running on my machine.
Okay. Well, let's. I'm just extracting I think it's just the example application, isn't it? So
Yeah,
we're
it
not
is.
going to-
It's exactly just the folder from the example app that I.
Well, I'll open the app. There you go.
Thank you.
But before we do that, I'm actually going to run it. So yeah, I don't want to compile it. I'm just going to actually run it. Oops.
Yeah.
Oh, it's version 11, is it? That's no problem.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's no problem. Let's just oh, Clarian's still going wappy. Right, that's no problem. Let me just get rid of that and re-extract it, so it's exactly as you passed it off.
Hey, Andy, this is Bill again. Is this HT? I got tied up on a phone call. Is this HTML that you guys are working on right now? Is that the inbet one?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good.
No, which one?
That
This is the not the previous ActiveX one, but they have released a new one. But that's the wrapper of that isn't updated and released yet.
for nbit.
Well, it's nbit. Yeah, this is the nbit. Just let me move that out of the way. And
They're called Zoopal now or something, right?
Right. I just bought the that was my question. I just bought the Zoopal ActiveX one the other day.
all right, okay. Well, let me just where are they?
I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, Bill.
I had a emergency phone call on somebody trying to set something up, and I ended up having to get on with them. And then I saw this, and I said, "Oh, wait a second, maybe this is the answer to my question here."
Well, this is the ActiveX, which is one what's out there at the moment, 3.23. Okay, and they call it their legacy ActiveX because basically that is. I don't think they're doing much more with it now, to be honest. But they have released a brand new ActiveX HTML5 editor. Okay.
Right, that's the one I think that's the one I just got.
Okay. Well, the wrapper of that isn't released. It will be. It will be. Just hang fire. So it will be after South Africa now, but that will be coming your way.
Okay, good. No problem. But I was just curious on what was going on here, so whether I knew it was on the new one or the old one. So
this is the old one.
Okay, perfect. I'll drop off. I'm muted again.
No problem. Okay, so Frank, this is the folder, and I've just let's just do it
right
so you can see. So now I've extracted the zip. So you say if you run that, and where does it hang when you go into it?
Let's go to mail merge.
Okay.
And just edit newsletter. Any of the now see it works on yours. It works on mine. I can show you. But then any other machine that I do that zip on,
you don't get it.
It locks right on loading of the OCX or the active version or ActiveX.
No problem. Let's take a look then at that. And let's have a look at the settings, because the example app wouldn't be shipped with any license codes in or any registry.
Well, yeah, I actually put my license code in and stuff
I won't reveal it here, don't worry. I can always pause the screen.
Yeah, well.
In fact, I will just quickly check the settings. So let's have a look. So this is what you sent us. So it is 3.23.
Right.
It's set to Reg3Com. Brilliant.
Yep.
It's actually was bloody. I thought it was on a thingy. Never mind. Sorry.
That's all right.
Okay. But there was if I go to the other screen, so there is a license code in there. Thank you very much. Okay. Oh, that's good so far then. Let's have a look at the properties. Okay, we have that. App manifest, generate the manifest. That's good. Looks good so far. Let's just do a generate. Actually, I should have checked the files, but we can always just delete this and re-extract it.
Sure.
So obviously we expect that to still work. And we've got our editor, of course. Yep, no problem.
Yep.
And if we go to that folder, from a release point of view, we would expect, let's do a cleanup. I would expect that manifest, which is there. So that's saying, okay, use 3.23, 3.2, 3.203, is that right? Presume it must be. Yeah, presume it must be. So that's the application manifest. So the editor manifest.
Yeah.
There's the application manifest telling it that it requires that file, which it does. So far so good. I wonder. Let's just make sure all of those are open that folder. There we go. I'll make sure they're all unregistered on my machine. Okay. So without reg3com, that ActiveX will not work. And we're still getting the editor. So that's working through reg3com.
Again, it works on mine.
The only
And
thing,
that's the weirdest thing. That's why I took your whole demo and tried it on the various other PCs rather than.
just let me just check one thing. Is it in the example? Just 1 second.
Okay.
HTML. No, okay. Go to another machine. That machine will be a second. Right, won't be a second. On this machine here,
You're good.
they okay. There's that OCX. Oh, sorry, that OCX.
Right.
But that in turn does make use of those. So can you check if those are registered on the other machines? You will have them as part of the install. They should be part of your install, and if not, I can send them to you. So on, that's no problem. But
I'm not sure.
They're part of Windows, so I would expect them to be to be done, because that ActiveX does actually make use of those others as well. So, but yeah, they are kind of built in with Windows, so I would expect them to be there and available to you. So it's worth
Maybe
just
that's
checking
the
those.
issue. Lordy. How do I check if
well, first off, I mean, what you could do is
I'm actually connected to one of my clients that it's blocking up on.
Okay. Have you shipped those files to the client?
No.
Right. Okay. Let me just put them in that machine. Just let me. Wait a second.
I just did a screenshot of them, so.
I've got you on. I'll zip them and Skype them to you now.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to bring them into. Let me put them in there, and just while. I'm sure. Have I got you on Skype? I'm sure I have I not?
Yeah. I don't have Skype open. Hold on.
Not sure I have. I'll tell you what. I'll zip them.
Okay.
Yep. It's going to be easier. Let's
Yeah.
get them to you. Won't be 1 second. I'm going to reply to your email.
Okay.
So I take it you can accept zips, okay? There should be no problem.
Yes. Yes. So what do I do with them? Just put them in the. I haven't received them yet.
Okay, they're on the way to you. So
Okay.
now you would put them into there.
Put
So
right into the folder.
Yep. Now let's just register them manually. I'm not going to do them on mine, but I'll give you the exact command. So what folder is that? E, right. So it would be along the lines of reg svr32 and then the com ct332.ocx.
Okay.
That's the command you would want to execute on.
Okay.
And there's 3 of them you would want to do. That one, followed by that one, followed by that one. And you don't really, you could try registering that, but you're supposed to be running reg3 com.
Yeah, it is set up for it. I mean, and like I said, okay, I just got them. I zipped up the command bars. I thought maybe there was a reg-free com problem, and I zipped up the command bars demo, and boom, it worked great. Better
have
not
dependencies like the HTML editor. Yeah, that doesn't have dependencies.
Yeah. All right, I just got them, so extract. Now I don't know if you want to go on to somebody else while I'm trying this, or you want to end.
No. Paul. Oh, Paul's asking, did you ship? And just open the mic. There we go. Hi, Paul. He's saying, did you ship the manifest?
I did. Well, yeah, it's whatever was in the folder I shipped. I made sure that the manifests were in there because I had a manifest problem that you fixed the week before.
Yeah. So, and Bijan's also saying on a new machine, I have to do that the first time we run the exe. Now, if you, it might be that. So I suppose what you could do, yeah, they're in there. What you could do, and bear in mind, let's go back to our application. This might just help you out, as Bijan's just recommended. Now they're not registered. So I'm going to say do not register. Don't use reg3com. We'll compile and that will regenerate the manifest. So I'm going to run. I won't expect it to hang. I just expect it to not have any control, which it hasn't. There it is. And if we go into our mail merge and there's no control there, which is perfect. What we kind of expect. Now, my French electric bill's ready. Okay. What we can do, oh, wrong one, sorry, is on the register, go to register within Windows. Now, what that will do is we're going to recompile that. That will say, okay, run the computer, run it. If you detect it's not registered already, then attempt to register it itself. So if I do this now and go in, nothing. That's fine. If I rerun that same program, but run it as where are we? Run it as administrator, which will give it sufficient access rights. And this time I've got it. And they are now registered. So it's just done that. Now, of course, it might be that one of those files which I've passed you now, and they are as part of the install, but it just made it easier to email you, so you know you've got them. It might be that one of those weren't registered, and what that has just done is re-registered all 4 of those.
Yeah, that makes total sense. All right, well, let me try that, and I'll let you know. I'll try that right now, and well, we'll go from there. Hopefully, it'll solve the problem. I've been working on it for like a month, not solid, you know. But then Then I get the client on that line. I go, okay, here you go, and boom, it locks up on me. They're just like, I'll call you back.
So, well, basically that is just as Bijan has said. I mean, we could now rerun that. just let me reply and just say just hi, we're currently in the weekly webinar, just in case Robert wants to join in. Right, sorry about that. So now we've run it as administrator. Next time I wouldn't have to. I could just run it as normal, which we knew a minute ago it didn't have it, and of course it's registered.
Right.
And so on. And now I could switch back to the reg3com. So I suspect, I don't know, but I suspect on your system it's one of the supporting libraries aren't registered.
Yeah. I mean, that makes total sense.
Yeah, but they are normally, to be fair, they are normally included in Windows. But you never know, something else might have been installed and unregistered them, or they might be a different version, so on and so forth. So by going down this route, that should help you out.
Okay. Thank you, Andy.
No problem.
Thank you, Bijan.
Okay. Any other questions? All looks good. I think we've covered a few things. I've just told somebody we're on the webinar. There's every chance we might be finished by the time they join. But yeah, any other questions? I take it all made sense on the new command bars approach and the updates to the calendar and so on. I take it all those made sense to everybody. All sounds good. If there's no other questions, I'm going to actually. Robert's just joining us. So, Alan, want to see the app with all our pages? Yes, by all means, Alan. Alan, your mic should still be open. Where are we? Alan,
I muted myself. Yeah, I muted myself.
I'm trying to do it here, and I don't think I'm controlling it. Yeah, by all means, if we can see that, if you don't mind, that'd be brilliant.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. I'm going to send you the presenter option, so you should see a question coming your way.
I got it.
Brilliant. Okay.
All right, let me shrink that over. Yeah, here it is. We've got, I do have some display issues, like you see that right there. I'm not sure what the deal is. If I move, then it comes back.
Yes, no, I know of those. The thing you've got definitely to do with stability enhancements, but there are some, there's some mopping up to do of some redisplays and resizes as well. So yes, right. I do know of those.
Okay. So I've got a Clarion procedure over here showing my client and case list. And then on the right side, today's appointments, today's tasks, today's phone slips, those are all separate Clarion procedures. Cool. And then in the middle, I've got all the different functionality. I kind of thought about how Clarion's IDE works, but they will assemble documents here. Our billing system shows up here, an accounting system, calendar. You see they're all loading. And I haven't yet, but my intention is to see if I can set them up so they can, there, it just dragged off. How about that?
Oh, you've allowed float.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, they could pull it off into a different, so.
If you do
that for working? Yeah. Deadline, so, okay, I didn't put the, do not,
yeah.
I need to allow it, I need to allow it to be in a
It still starts, anyway. I do know what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, and it's working. That's very pretty cool, eh?
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, we're happy with that.
A bit of background for other people watching and feedback on it is early on, Alan attempted this, this type of approach, and I know previous versions of the docking panes there was definitely issues on the stability of this. It seemed to manifest itself more in Alan's app than mine. Which, of course, it's like, are you sure? You ask the question, are you sure? But then you see it, and it's a case of, oh, definitely. Yeah. Whereas I'm quite happy. I know of that repaint issue. That wasn't the intention for this first beta. The intention was, have we got rid of the, do things open when they should open, and do they act when they interact when they should do, and so on and so forth, and do we not get any GPS and so on? And that was by far the major issue of this.
Yeah.
There's still an increase. I don't think it's not so much for yourself on this one actually, but for screens which use the report control, like I do, I make heavy use of the report control on the docked windows. Although, actually, no, there's actually something you could probably make use of it. I still want to fine tune a tiny bit of the embed points on the child browse window, not on the child window. So it might be your calendar, or it might be your which one was one of the other ones which had a list? Deadline manager, something like that.
I got a lot of lists. They all have lists.
List, okay,
This one's got a list. That one's got a that one
that's
was
that
separate
one.
one.
Yeah.
That one's got they're all lists.
So basically, the loading of those.
I think I was playing with your report control on this one. So that's actually got the report control in it.
Cool. So basically, the loading of that information, and what I want to do, and there's still a fine tune to go into that prior to release. What we want to do is, when you first call that window, we want to get that window on the screen as fast as possible, and then we'll load the content. So we want to, but we want to do it seamlessly. So no coding. We don't want it to basically via the template settings take that loading. So if you use being used inside of a docking pane, just hang fire on your load until such time where you're being told to load. That kind of approach.
Right.
Otherwise, you're going to have the lazy open turned on. But if it's a foul loaded list, it could take a couple of seconds to load, or whatever to load. And of course, the user is going to be left wondering what's happening while that's happening. So while that's occurring. So what we want to do is get the empty list on the screen, maybe have the instead of no records, just say loading there, that kind of thing. And then of course, once it gets to dock it straight away, and then that window will then say, right, you're docked, now go and load your content. So go and load your Clarion list, or go and load your report control, or if it's a chart, go and load your chart. But basically, go and load your content once you're docked. So the user gets instant visual docking of the window, and then they get the content of that window.
Right.
So there is still a couple of enhancements to go in that area too. So which will of course help yours as well.
Right. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah. No,
but you might want to see it working.
Yeah.
But before the beta you sent me, that this would not load.
No, I do remember, unfortunately. So, and of course, I can see command bars across the top there. So with the new command bars, you should actually get a hell of a speed increase out of that as well. I mean, you saw the timings before.
I'm really looking forward to that because this thing does take a long time to load.
Yeah. So, what did we get before? 3.3 down to 0.6, 0.06. Yeah. So, in my defense, anyone can optimize code, but in my defense, it is 12-year-old. So I suppose it is due a bit of a makeover, if you will. So yes, so that's just what it's getting. So, all
right.
Okie dokie. So last but not least, I know Robert's just joined us. Roberto, I should say, actually, but let's just open the mic. Hi, Roberto, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm curious if you could show me an example of the property grid where you put a button in it and you can go color routine to do a lookup and pop the value into the property grid. Or point me to an example if you have something like that working.
Let's have a look. We've got a property grid on here from a previous webinar. We've just didn't realise I was actually in Clarion 11 there. Just 1 second. Let me just go back to the other one. Won't be a second. Crikey. you've missed. We were discussing before lots of particular new updates which are coming out. But once those are out, which is basically our lead up to the CIDC event, once those are out, then I know you've quite kindly posted us quite a few enhancements and notes on the property grid. So that will get some love, but it will be after South Africa now.
Oh, that's fine, sir.
So, but yeah, I think I said on the actual the Skype chat, don't think anyone's being ignored. It's just I've had to keep my head down while we try and work through lots of enhancements at the moment, and now they're all coming to fruition, which is nice. Okay, so you were saying a lookup. Have we got an example with buttons? In place buttons. There you go, something like that. Anything? Oh, we really want it on a string. That calls a splash procedure. Yeah, no.
That will do. Right.
Well, I can get you. We'll add one. That's got multiple buttons, so button 1, button 2, button 3. So just in case you're.
Just as long as you pointed me to the plus buttons, and I can go in color procedure to load some data into the. That's basically all I needed.
Oh, hang on. We've got one, a subform. Oh, that's just calling a form.
Yeah. Select normally just to get to something else.
Actually.
Okay.
So basically, what the thing you were looking for there. Let's have a look at the in-place buttons. In place. We'll have a. Oh, not that one. Let's go into here. Just add a. Not a sub form. We'll just have a lookup. Lookup value, that kind of thing. Okay. Button lookup. We'll just have it as a string. We will want an in-place button. So I'm going to have an in-place button of that. Okay, so now I've gone to add a button for it. I'm just going to call it ... something like so. To the right, not bothered about the width. We'll give it a. No, I won't. So I'll give it a lookup.icon, something like that. First of all, let's just check we get our button. So there's our string, there's our lookup, and it doesn't do anything, but that's the start.
Yeah, once I get it on the sample, I can just look at the methods that they are generated and go do the same.
Well, we would then get an embed point trigger, which is in place buttons. It will have all your different buttons. So we've just got our lookup, that one. So I'm just going to call lookup value, and that's going to just call a lookup value. Okay, now that's going to call it, but what I want it to do is actually do self.set
value.
Item value.
Yeah.
That's my item, and I want to set it to the return of that, if you will. So I'm just going to create. Oh, I haven't created it yet. So I'm jumping ahead. I'm just going to create a new procedure. Very crude. Just going to return a string. So a window. Lookup value. Prototype returns me a string. I've got beeps going on in my headphones, but it's not telling me anything. Right, let's just have a return value. So LV string, local variable string, that is. We get the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to be the most complex of procedures, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
So I'm just after a very simple window with a that string on there and a close button. Oh my days, as screens go, that looks absolutely terrible. I feel violated, but okay. Let's just, you get the principle. That's that so far. That's, yep. That wants to be called in there. Thank you very much. So basically now you would have your lookup, goes off, asks for, maybe it's a list or whatever, but you get the idea. And then we close and your return value is put into your thing accordingly. But that leaves us, and I think this wants to be one of our first topics back after the CIDC, because that to me is a prime example of an update. So where we've got our in place button here, we've just taken the time to do that. So as I declared that button, I should have actions on there, and I should be able to say, I want to set a value, I want to call a procedure in a select mode, that kind of thing, and have it so it writes the code for you. So that is crying out for an enhancement in my mind. So let's get that penciled in. After CIDC, when we're back, then Property Grid can get the next set of love, so to speak.
The other part, the other question that I had, if you don't mind, you have a browse form in the particular example there, and I was wondering.
Look at it. Yep. I can't remember, to be honest. Yeah. It's been a while. 2014, definitely been a while.
Advanced.
Yeah.
The update form. Now in here, how do you, once you make the change in the form and you come back, how do you actually where's the midpoint that actually does the write back to the record?
I would guess in that scenario, in that example, because it's an old example, I would guess that would be probably in the OK button when you're pressing the OK. Just looking for load from queue, multiple grids, Charles, browse, update form, update customer, probably that one. And I'm going to guess at, in the OK. No. Set row cell. Oh, is it because? It might be because it's the variable. Is it because it's bound? Predefined variable, data content. So it will put itself back in there automatically. So if we follow that code through, because we've chose predefined rather than being a constant, I think it's going to put that in. Let's have a look at the generator code for that entry. And of course it will be the same for all the other entries.
And it will put it back into the browse. Or...
Yeah. So there's our create items. And you can see you may see watch this back, but the new report control, the new command bar does things quite differently. This is definitely going to follow suit to give us a massive speed increase. But yeah, here we go, item accepted, and that, because it knows these are predefined, when an item's been accepted, it goes and puts the values back in their related fields.
Interesting. Puts it back into the original customer browse.
So that's your update form. So that's obviously in the item accepted. So back to this here now, update form. I'm going to go to Noyantis, and actually that can update that. That should be there. Oops. That should be there. So basically, as these are being updated, they're being put back into their variables. That should be Ada Lovelace House. That, as I accept it, has now gone back into the variable. And remember, this is an update form, so as I press OK, it's going to go and update the record because it's nothing more than a standard Clarion update form. I just happen to be,
I see, okay, and there we go.
Yeah, except that's a really old phone number too. I mean, this is chuck away data anyway, but you get the idea.
Yes, thank you, sir. That that helps. I just need to see it, and I'll go study the
That's no
examples.
problem. The key there, though, the key there for you is the definition, and it's a predefined variable, so it knows that it's coming from a field somewhere, and it's going to go and put that value back into that field. A bit like binding it, if you will.
Okay.
So, and Frank has just emailed us, and he said that has worked. So that's very good. There you go. That's worked. Thank you again. So that's a win-win for Frank last week and this week. So fair play. Okie dokie.
2 weeks in a row. Thank you.
Yeah, we're on a
Savior.
roll. Now, do remember, everybody, that we've got the CIDC event. We did mention it last week. So apart from the usual plug for CIDC, CIDC 2020 that is, the main reason I'm mentioning it now is there is going to be a gap in the weekly webinars to give me a bit of time to prep. So it is April the 2nd. Today is the 9th. Let me just bring that up. Make sure it is right. Just after a calendar, really. Calendar. Okay, that'll do. So there's no webinar next week, and there's no webinar the week after. In fact, there's no webinar now, unfortunately, until the 13th. So for 4 weeks, we will be missing the weekly webinar. Apologies for that. 2 of them were over in South Africa, so it's going to be a little awkward. And 2 of them, I just need the time to prep. So in fact, we actually fly out late on the Tuesday. So yeah, for the next 2 weeks, I will be prepping. Still be around and so on and so forth. But yes, basically, I will be prepping for the event. So there is no weekly webinar now for 4 weeks. So I do apologise to everyone for that. Any emergencies, obviously, get in touch. And if we need to do a one-off, then keep an eye on the Skype chat, and we'll do a one-off where we discuss it for everybody, that kind of thing. But I'm trying to not do it, if truth be told. So, and Pete's just joined, and he apologised for the joining late because America's changed their time zone, but Europe, we don't change yet. In fact, I don't think the UK changes for another 3 weeks yet, something like that. So I was alerted because Paul, who's on the webinar, got in touch and told me so and reminded me, but unfortunately Pete didn't. So okay, so that's it. Thank you very much, everyone, and I shall see you in a few weeks' time. And of course, if you're at the CIDC event, which hopefully you are, either online or in attendance, then I'll see you there as well. And we will be training on the very latest, which we've been chatting about. But John, are you there now?
I am. I'm back.
He is. Right. Okay. Well, what I was mentioning is obviously we mentioned some of the new stuff which we will be training on at CIDC, but not so much a training session. But because there's quite a few changes going on, I think it would be worth, if it's okay with you, maybe penciling a Friday webinar after CIDC for non-attendees, so at least they are kept in the loop of enhancements which have gone on, and they at least know of them and they can make use of them.
Yeah, absolutely. You bet.
Brilliant. Excellent.
Hey, Andy.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Hey, it's Alan. Do you need to go? Sorry, I was off for a few minutes.
No, I've got a few minutes. Yeah.
I got one more little issue that programmer just showed me. It has to do with skin framework and pop-ups. It's in my app, but maybe I can show it to you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Where are you? You're still a presenter, so I should be able to switch back to you. There you go. Coming across to you now.
All right. Got it. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Right click. My menus are cut off, and he said that he tracked it down to being skin framework issue. Have you ever seen this?
I'm tempted to say yes, but it was a while ago. I'll be honest, skin framework, I use very seldom, but I don't know why. Nothing against it. I just use it very very seldom. What skin is it? And I can try that here because I will need to know which skin.
All right, hang on a second. I had all kinds of trouble trying to figure out how to make skin framework go, and I hand coded and added stuff. Let's see, where do I go?
Oh, the only thing you should need is skin. You only add it to the global extension and your application
Global.
exe. Yeah,
All right.
you only add it in 2 places. You don't add it anywhere else.
Yeah, trying to figure out skins versus themes. I'm
Right.
still not real. I'm still not real comfortable with
Themes
it. But
will affect the control that they are for. Skins will affect your physical windows and the controls, even Clarion controls and pop-up windows. So if you apply a skin and then call a Windows, maybe select printer or printer dialog, it will skin those as well.
okay, is that what you what do you use if you don't use skin framework?
I just use the normal Clarion the CodeJock themes for the related controls, and usually turn off the grey background.
All right. Okay. Well, I may do that. I was just playing.
Well,
Let's see.
check this one. If you go to your app frame and do extensions.
Come on, Alan. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's where it is. Extensions. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I hand code it, and I may have actually done it in.
No,
here.
you want the main. Yeah, you want it in there, and that should.
Well, let's
just
see if I
there.
put it in here. Well,
yeah,
it's not. Is
down
it?
one. Yeah, down one more. You was on there.
Okay.
Okay. So you want that. Use existing. You got a toolbar. You hide it.
Style file. Yeah.
Okay. So you load it from a file. That's fine. But obviously. Yeah. Do you need the ini section?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I hadn't looked at this in a few weeks. Let me open up the code and see exactly what I did. I think I'm setting it in my frame. Yeah, I'm just searching for the code.
Oh, Alan, those.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's okay. 2016 theme 2016. I saw one that said resource a minute ago. I was going to say that didn't look too good.
All right, hang on. I think I'm setting it in back in here.
You would need to set it in there prior to it being executed.
Yeah. Okay, where is it? Where is it? There it is. Okay, here's where I'm setting it.
Oh, okay. Yep, got you. Yep, that's fine.
And then I actually set up, I think I have it working where they could choose a different skin and such. Where was that? Documents, settings, theme, select a skin. I'm not. How about that? How about them apples? Where was it? Let's see, Vista Silver. Well, I don't see much change there, but anyway, yeah.
Oh, definitely there.
So yeah, it took me a long time to figure out how to get that working.
Well, just as you're selecting them different skins, just right-click on the menu just to see if that changes.
Yeah, still got it.
No, okay. Choose a different skin.
Yeah. I'm not sure why he said it was a skin framework. I'll go back and ask him. That could be
quite possible. To be fair, though, in fairness, it's quite possible. It's not something I'd have to have a look. The only thing there, it sounds like it, but what actually happens? Just let me switch back to mine. I'll give people a quick overview, if you will, of the principles behind the skin framework. Okay, I will open a skin. Where are we? Do we have the example here? We do. We must have run one in the last few weeks. Okay. Now, within Windows, you've got lots of, and they call them windows, active at any one time. So what I mean by that is that button there is a window. As far as Windows is concerned, that button is a window. That's a window. That is a window. So on and so forth. That tab is a window. That entry is a window, and so on and so forth. You get the idea behind it. Now, they will have a class name associated with them. Now, that's not a Clarion class or anything like that. It's really like a classification. I should have a tool. Let me just see if I've got a particular tool to help out explain this.
This spy?
It's a thing called WinID. It should be on my server somewhere. WinID, is it? Win Utilities. WinID. It's not installed on this machine. It's how long ago since I ran it, but that's fine. Let's put it on. Okay, that's good. So that's WinID. And as you can see, as I'm hovering around, okay, it's looking underneath it, and you can get various bits of information. So I'm just trying to find, can we see where its name is? There, class. CLA, sorry, I'm pointing to it. What an idiot. Right, okay, on the WinID window, about 5 lines from the bottom, you can see parent, HWND, which is a handle, class equals CLA child client. Okay? So if we look in others, and I'm on there, and I can see that that is a Windows Forms 10. It really comes in handy. So if I run an application, let me run my Schedule It application. And we'll open oh, not Toronto, sorry, that's another one. That's in there, that's not the one. But even when I'm doing this, so we can see here that what I'm on is a CLA child client class. That button, CLA child, I would have expected that to be a button actually. Ah, there, sorry. Fourth or fifth line down, depending on, you've got position, HWND, title, and the class. I can see that's a CLA button and a hexadecimal address. Okay, that's CLA drop. So these are the internal Windows class names for the Clarion controls. That makes sense so far? Because that's a CLA edit.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we actually go in a CLA sheet, we could see there, that's fine. Let it open up. And okay, that's a child area, that is, granted. Just going to go into a list and see, we can see the command bars, and we can see here that I was on a docking pane a second ago, which I was. As I hover across, I'm on the XTP toolbar, which is the command bar. So these are the internal names. There's the XTP report, and that's the class for a report control name. Now, once you've got that principle behind and you understand that, when you apply skins, Windows skins, what it actually does is it applies a Windows theme file, a Windows visual theme file, I think it is, style file, Windows visual style file, and you map elements of the styles classes to the elements of the your local classes, if you will. So what I mean by that is we go into our skin framework and we run that, and this is don't know what skin is set to use. Let's switch the skin to Apple so I can blatantly see it. That one will do. Okay, want some kind of Apple one here. And what the template does is it creates a clone copy of all Clarion can actually do. What Clarion can actually create. So it creates a button, an entry, so on and so forth. It creates all these particular things. It grabs the class name via an API call of each individual type of control. So, like for example, we're on a sheet here, and we can see via the WinID running that we're on a CLA sheet. So we grab the class name and we map what Clarion calls them to what the visual styles would expect them to be called, if that makes sense. And what I think's happening on that right click is it might be mapped to the wrong particular thing. So if I go to here and right click, have I got a browse? Oh, that shows you where the thing's being skinned. That's definitely applied to skin. So that you were saying the difference between a theme and a skin. These are Clarion controls. No other Kojak stuff in here except for the skin, and it's taken over the Clarion controls and applied the skin to them.
Gotcha.
Now some of them cannot be skinned. For example, the Clarion sheet and the tabs. They've had an attribute called owner drawn applied to them since might even be Clarion 4. So yeah, it might be since Clarion 6 definitely. So you've never been able to take over the painting of these and so on. But we try, we just can't. We're just not allowed. But what it does is, as we can see here, it's grabbing the. It's no longer allowed to do buttons, which is a shame as well. We're trying workarounds, but at the moment we can't. We used to be able to skin these as well. But we grab a Clarion list, we grab the elements, and then we map it. So I'm just wondering if we've got a Clarion browse, that right click does look a little short. I'm wondering whether we've got the wrong name on the pop-up, if we can try and help that out at all. But it comes down to if I can map the Clarion pop-up to the XTP Skin Manager menu. You see the fourth or the fifth line down there where it says class XTP Skin Manager menu. So basically, to answer the question, hopefully I put a bit more background into it, but the skin will know it as that name. Clarion will know it as a completely separate name, and it just depends on that right click what Clarion calls it. And I need to map the Clarion's name to that name, and then hopefully it will work. And it's that mapping where I can give you the ability, when you apply the skin, is it done on here or is it done at the global level? Can't actually remember. Just making a note of that bug. Skin pop-up windows.
Yeah, unless we can take care of it, I'll have to pull all that code out, or comment it out.
Well, hopefully it's just a case of mapping, because as I say, we give you all these options so you can turn them on and off and so on. And all it actually does is we just don't attempt to create a prompt and then map it accordingly. We just don't do that. So it might be a simple case of just doing a standard Clarion pop-up, and which I should be able to get to thinking about it. Let's just try it. Because it's not one which I've actually thought about, to be honest. So it might literally just be that. Let's fingers crossed. Let's go into here, right click. Okay.
So that one's wider.
But it's not got a skin applied.
Okay.
So the skin, the class name, is a 32768. Doesn't really mean much to me, I'll be honest with you. But is that always the case? So let me go on to, say, another window and do right click. And it's 32768. So basically, I need to, during the initialization, create a pop-up, grab the class name, which will be that 32768, but I always like to future-proof things, and map it to the XTC Skin Manager window, whatever it was called.
Huh.
So that should be the fix.
Cool.
32768, and that is the WinID for Windows. WinID Clarion. Yeah. Okay, I shall take a look at that, Alan. And that should be basically, once it knows, Clarion knows them as a CLA button, Kojak know them as such and such a thing. Once I marry them two together, then that's how they get skinned accordingly. Unless you've got the owner drawn attribute, and then which the CLA sheet has got the owner drawn attribute, and now unfortunately the CLA buttons have, which they never did. A bit of a shame, really. But yeah, that would really be the fix.
All right. Well, thank you. And I hate to be rude, but I have a lunch appointment. I got to go.
No, it's okay. I got to go too. So once again, thank you everybody. Thank you for sticking around for that extra little bit. Hopefully you learned something from it. And that tool, a WinID, is a cracking tool to tell you exactly what's going on underneath in your Windows, so on. But yes, basically, for those at CIDC, I will see you there or speak to you there. And for everybody else, I will see you upon our return. So thank you very much, everybody. Speak soon. Cheers.